Welcome, guys, to another episode of Tac-City Unfiltered. We have some special guests today. We have Randy and Sam from Code Red Airsoft. In what city is it?
City of Paris.
City of Paris. Riverside County, right?
Riverside County.
All right. So let's get into this. I want you to introduce yourself to the crowd in case they don't know, if there's been living under a rock and don't know who Code Red is. Tell us a little about yourselves. How you guys got started? Get us up to speed. What you guys are up to?
Yeah, for sure.
Pre-pandemic, pandemic.
So obviously, it's Randy and Sam. We've been the owners of Code Red Airsoft Park for the last 11 years, but been in business 21 years with a retail store called Bring It On. And that's how we started.
That's where the gray.
That's where the gray is, yep. But we've actually been very fortunate on how everything's gone forward. Even when we decided to do the Airsoft park in 2010, it was a slow go, but then we happened to hit it at the right time of the market when Airsoft was booming.
So you say 2010, but prior to that, paintball.
Paintball.
Okay.
Yeah, paintball was our bread and butter from 2000. Well, we still make money on paintball. Sure. So, but 2001 to 2006, we hit the market perfectly again. Paintball was taking off. In 2001, we opened our business at that time, and it was a catapult. Like we timed the market perfectly. You couldn't do it any better.
Awesome, yeah.
And so that was our catapult in. Then all of a sudden, Airsoft was feeding in a little bit. And then we start looking into it. And then 2006, when some of the patents expired from one of the other companies where everyone can start making M4 guns, we went through the roof. So we had decided at that point to, we had another business, a candy store, we liquidated, and then we needed all that space to make paintball airsoft. And so we had full walls of airsoft, and we couldn't keep airsoft guns in to save our soul. We were ordering pallets. Wow. And so it just kind of catapulted up. But at that time, no airsoft fields at all. No one was catering to airsoft
Sales
fields.
were going great, but where do they play, right?
Yeah. So they were just renegade out in the desert, just like paintball started. They were just out there.
Somebody's backyard.
So then... so then we decided, 2008, we helped another park open a park up, and it was one of the first giant paintball parks up in the high desert, and we opened that up, and we had made a designated plan to make an airsoft only field to try out, test the water to see if airsoft was ready for their own field, even though there was so much open land.
Sure.
And we proved that it was going to work. And then shortly after that, 2010, we had our opportunity to own our own park. And so we just went kind of full bore into that, like we kind of do everything. We went full bore and then opened our first park in the city of Colton. We had the opportunity there, and we started off small because, again, we didn't know where it was going to go. And then we built it up to one of the largest, at that time, one of the largest airsoft-only fields, outdoor fields.
That's a key point,
largest outdoor field in California. And we were just dominating in a sense of the maps that we created. We created new style maps that no one's even seen, with so many buildings when we did D9 and all this stuff. And the words we were hearing is like, oh, it's too many buildings. You can't play this. You can't do this.
Wow.
Take them out. And then all of a sudden it became one of their favorite fields at the end. Right. And then sadly, after five, almost 6 years there, they sold our land, and we had to move.
A common story.
Yeah. So obviously we couldn't come up with the millions of dollars they wanted for the land, so we had to move.
Sure.
So then we had.
And when was this the move?
So we moved in 2015. So right around 2015.
Fairly recent.
15, 16 area. So then we were on the run for trying to find another location. We talked about it. And like, should we open it up again? No, we not. It's a lot of work because I got to build from scratch again. Like, I just got this thing, all fine tuned.
And people understand an outdoor field, you got a lot more territory to fill, right?
Yeah, because we had four large fields at that one, full size buildings. I mean, we built full on like 6 buildings.
Construction site, basically.
Yeah, it was all because we wanted to give them that full environment.
Sure.
And then we trench field that took years to build it. And we finally got it perfect, and we had to destroy it. So. And that's what the biggest thing everyone asks us for. Is you going to do trenches again? I don't know. It's very hard to do and maintain.
That's kind of a common theme with paintball fields airsoft fields, indoor, outdoor, it doesn't matter, where most of the time we don't own the property. We're leasing and whatnot. And we're kind of at the mercy of that property owner. And that's
even some of our big guys that people know, like SC Bellage, they don't own any land. Right. They lease them all out, and then we don't get that availability to own land because it is so expensive, especially in California, to own land.
And sometimes our customers don't realize we try to insulate our customers from those, because I don't know if people realize this, but real estate, building leases, it's not like renting your apartment.
Correct.
Whereas if you rent $1,500 a month for the term of that lease, it stays the same. They fluctuate and they have caps. And so we try to insulate our customers from those increased expenses on our end, but it's a tough road to.
No,
that's one of our biggest expenses.
Even with us, our rent just this month went up another 3%.
Right. And most of the time, that's how businesses are. You sign a contract, but every year it goes up a certain percentage.
So no matter what's going on, we're going up with that percentage, and then you got your insurance, and there's a lot of extra little costs, and plus maintaining.
Right. And the trick for us is try not to put it all on the customer's plate, and try to insulate as best we can and stay profitable and
not constantly raising our entry fees. Obviously the way the world is right now and how expensive everything is, we should be way higher with our entry
minimum
fees.
Wage just went up.
Yeah. You look at Disneyland, they're raising their fees all the time. They're up to $200 now a person to play at Disneyland. Yeah. So, but we contemplated about reopening the park because we knew how much money and time and effort, and we were going to have to go big or go home on this one. Sure. This was going to be our last thing that we wanted to do, and we had all flooded with all these emails and messages and all that stuff about, please, don't go away. We loved your park. We don't want to, go to the other ones. You're the, and all that stuff. So we contemplated, and then we just said, we looked at each other. Okay, let's pull our savings. Let's pull our 401k retirement, and let's go forward. We're all in.
We got very lucky because the paintball side, Wayne ASG, wanted to continue as well. So it was half the cost, even though it was still very expensive. Sure. So we did. Again, every step of the businesses that we've had has been perfect luck. Perfect luck. And then we went in and did this and found the property. People have no idea. There came a point where we didn't think we would find it because actually they didn't want that type of environment in their cities.
That's a common thread as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of places don't want our type.
Right? Yes. Well, because it was eating our time up, because we would get as far as going to the city meeting, getting the land, wasting about a month of time, getting everything ready, and all of a sudden they'll come up with something. Like one area that we found was actually pretty good. Then they said, oh, well, you're next to an airport, a golf course, so you can't make no noise. Like, what the heck? And so we got this for you, and then we want you to put in, the curb and gutter and put a turning lane in.
I had the same thing here. They wanted me to put in 7 more bathrooms for the women.
Wow.
Because of all the women that come play I already have a dedicated bathroom. We know typically in a lot of public venues, the women's bathrooms usually get a line out the door. Right. But in our sport, right, women don't make a large percentage. So even when we have moms and girlfriends or players or whatever, it doesn't constitute having a total of 12 stalls.
Right.
No.
And they also wanted me to put an elevator in here.
Wow.
Like that, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. But as you know, it's a process, and they don't really know where to put us.
Right.
In any, we're not manufacturing, we're not fully retail, so where do we put them? So you almost have to, on the fly, educate them.
Right.
And make it worth your while. Like, am I wasting my time with this, or is there a light in the tunnel?
Right.
Because you have to educate them and make them feel at ease, because they don't know.
Right.
And that's what eat us up, because we got to this process like 3 or 4 times that we were
perfect
that were good, it's perfect, and then got the door shut. Then finally,
how far did you get to, like conditional use permits, or did you get in front of like a panel?
No, we never even get that. We actually got shut down before. One of them was actually a general contractor of the area, but he had a lot of clout. And he was able to tell the city about our business if he wanted it or not.
And he didn't want it.
And so we got
politics.
shut out. Yeah, we got shut down on that one. And then so finally we came up with this one. It was basically no man's land. Mm-hmm. And then the city goes, oh, in Paris we want your type. We want entertainment in Paris, so because they already have the skydiving, they got the baseball field, race cars, and I mean they have all kinds of stuff. So they're trying to be the capital in Riverside County, anyway, of a sports area to draw people in. So it made it a little bit easier, but we get to the board. So now we get all the way through. We're already paying all this money out. And then they start hitting you with different fees, waiting periods, conditional use permit, the burrowing out, looking for those weeds.
I think they do a lot of this just to scare you to see, are they really in it or not? Yeah. Can we scare them away? How serious are they? I think because a lot of this stuff is arbitrary.
Well, like when people come into here or come into our store, you can look and you'll see a price. They don't have that price. Basically, they have a blank sheet and say, burrowing out inspection. That's going to be
that's a round number.
That's going to be $5,000.
I want to go to Europe this year. Let's put this in there.
Yeah. And so they start doing that a lot. Where I had to fill out a piece of paper, and that's $3,000. Well, you get $3,000 an hour, or what?
We have to come out and inspect of this plant that's endangered. We've got this.
Did you ever? I kind of relate this because even here I had the same issues, right? And in the city limits, it's always kind of really touchy. When I was dealing with the inspectors through the process, right? So I learned this later than I should have, but a year into the process of a 2.5-year process. Okay, they would say things like, "Well, typically we like to see this, and whatever, right?" And I started catching on, like, typically. So is that required? Oh, no. Like, what the hell? Yeah. I mean, typically we like to see this, that, whatever. But is that required? No. All you need is that. Then why the hell are you telling me, even having this conversation of bathrooms or whatever, if typically you see that, but that's not required? And I had to question everything from that point on. I was like, oh, I see. The difference between, those little, I forget the little handicap dots outside the doors.
Oh, yeah.
I have 3 roll-up doors around my building. They're about 20 foot wide. They wanted me to put a pad 20 foot wide and 20 foot deep at each one.
Wow.
Right? That little one near the walkway, that alone cost me like $5,000. So imagine something that size, 3 of them. And then I had to think for these inspectors, because they're not going to be forthcoming or have any kind of logic. And I said, well, so is the purpose just so that the walkway door attached to those roll-ups has those bumps so that when they walk through the door, they, yeah, that's it. So I mean, I can have a 2 foot by 2 foot each one? I guess that would work. I want to kill the difference between like $40,000 as opposed to like $8,000.
And again, we were lucky because we've had the storefront, and we had to deal with this with the storefront. So we already kind of knew when they say things. But like
every city's different too, right?
Yes,
right.
Yes.
Some are like, we'll play with it. Like I've visited Texas before COVID because I'm looking at Texas. And one of the phrases that I loved about Texas in the Dallas-Fort Worth, every time I talked to a real estate agent or a property owner or whatever, asking things about parking, this permits, like, oh, don't worry about this. This is Texas. We'll figure it out. I love you guys. Yeah. Here, California.
No, and we were just getting hammered on every time we turned around. And we actually got the whole park built.
Oh, my God.
And then one of the inspectors comes out that we had the fire hydrant that was like 300 feet away, which was 100% legal because of the way of we're an outdoor facility, nothing close. He goes, well, that fire hydrant is too far away. This ain't gonna work out. Sorry for all your time, and but you probably should just you probably should start packing things.
Is he looking
up.
For like a payoff?
He goes,
or something?
Yeah. So he goes, I'm not gonna pass you guys, and so you should just tear everything down. I go, what the heck? So then Wayne went to the mayor because the mayor liked to. He goes, I'll handle him, and then he did, and so all of a sudden things changed. He goes, well, if this was a real gun field, then I would be all in for it, because he's a real gun shooter, and we have a gun park close to it. I mean, a real range, a gun range, and so all of a sudden he got shot, and then we got another one that kind of rolled up like he wanted a payoff, rolled up in the dark tinted window, just like in the movie, rolled down the windows saying hi. I'm thinking, wait, are we supposed to pay these guys off or something? But we didn't do nothing illegal because we're still on the up and up, but it felt like that's how it kind of was going down. And but the mayor, we were very fortunate with the city officials, the good one in the sense the real people of the city. Did like us a lot, like Wayne and everything, and we were going to all the little meetings. but we still had to pay a lot of money. I mean, we probably paid out $50,000-$60,000 in just permit fees.
So that's what I know about outdoor fields. That's a high. Typically, outdoor fields, it's easier to get into because lower costs, startup costs, and whatnot. Typically, that's pretty high just to get going.
And that was the cheapest out of all the locations we looked.
Wow.
We looked at the other locations that we looked at because we got that far with money. The location we were looking at $200,000-$300,000 on permit fees minimum. So that became the cheap. I mean, it was a lot. Don't get me wrong, what we had to pay, but compared to the other one. So outdoor was a lot more because you got all these environmental impact fees that they start throwing in. They'll come up with new ones and then start throwing them in, and then everyone that was coming out to inspect and those environmental impact fees, those take months. So you can't do nothing until those are done. Like we couldn't even start in construction until
Are you paying rent?
Mm-hmm.
So like nothing's coming in and everything's going out. Waiting.
So we got waived a few months on the beginning of the rent, and then afterwards it's like, oh, you gotta pay.
Landlord wants to get paid.
Yeah. And so we had to pay.
I kind of relate to this because a few years ago I was looking at outdoor, I should say, in Castaic.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually private property, and the guy approached me and said, "Okay, well, we'll do a split, and this and that. We'll start off just on a weekend a month, and we'll start off real bare bones, keep the cost low, wavered up and all that stuff." But then the county came involved, and because the thing that I loved about the property were trees, oak trees.
Oh, nice! Yeah.
Everywhere, couldn't do it. They're protected. You can't be anywhere within like
what the heck?
5 feet of oak trees. I'd have to put barriers around all the oak trees. There were hundreds of them. Yeah. I'm like, really? Even private property? Even private property. California.
We found one that had like a little river behind it. That was not a problem. But apparently there was I don't think it was Riverside County, but it was kind of like by Rancho. There was taxes that was owed for that river. There was taxes that never got paid by the previous owner, and if we wanted, we would have to pay those taxes to be able to do that land. It was like $150,000
for the river.
Yeah, there was a river that was flowing through it. There was
what
some
if you
kind
stopped it? What would happen?
Yeah,
you still owe it.
So we
sounds like a Western movie or something.
I mean, it's like the things they would come up with, like, oh well, you would have to pay that. It's never got paid, and if you want this, you would have to pay up the back rent or the whatever fees on that. It's like, what the heck? So I felt like we were feeling like they were just saying weird things just to push you off, to prevent it.
So you touched on a good point. You're talking about the mayor stepped in and all this. I had the same situation, and so we'll get into the questions later. But I think one of the questions we had, I was looking at as far as some of the obstacles. Right? And for anybody I'm sure you get emails too, people asking about starting a field and this and that, whatever.
Correct.
My suggestion, right, and this is what I did here, is once I found the building, before I even signed the lease, I reached out. I found out the council members for Fullerton, and then I had lunch with all of them, and find out where they leaned as far as pro-business, conservative, blah blah blah, and just kind of made a personal connection.
And you need to make sure they were pro-gun.
Exactly. I want to get a feel for them. This is what I want to do. I want to bring a unique business. We're going to bring. There's nothing like it in X amount, whatever, right? And so what ends up happening is one of the council members that I had lunch with before all this happened ended up becoming the mayor.
Nice.
Because in Fullerton, I think they rotate them out
every 2 years,
whatever it may be.
2 to 4 years.
And I went to talk to him as a council member. He was the mayor, and so when I was having these issues with like the inspectors, and I said, look, I'm just trying to this, that, whatever. You know what? No problem. I'm gonna make a phone call. I'm gonna get you in touch with the city engineer who's in charge of all this. I'm gonna get you face to face. I got a face to face with the city engineer, the fire department chief, the chief of police, my contractor, and also my architect or my I guess it's architect designer, and we had all the plans laid out what they were requiring because every department has to sign off on every section. And we went through everything, like the bathrooms and everything. And so I went to the bathrooms, or the elevator. Hey, so they're asking an elevator. So I slide it over to the engineer, and he's looking at it. He goes, "Well, you're not doing that, no." And it's this, who's requiring that? And I'm like, that guy at the table. So no, you don't need that. He was like, you don't need that. You don't need that. It was like, thank you. I wanted to kiss the guy, right? It's like, so why am I dealing with these idiots? And unfortunately, right, because the process with most cities is you're dealing with the people that just don't give a shit.
Right.
And my advice to people out there, probably any business for that matter, I would say, is you got to play the game. Politics. If you can get somebody on your side that has some clout, it doesn't take money necessarily, but just have a connection.
Yeah, you got to be personable. You can't come in there harsh and all that stuff. That's going to turn away.
Especially in our business, it's so unique. Why would you turn that away?
Yeah, you got to be personable is one of the things, and friendly, likable, and then show them your thing, and then because a lot of people, if they don't know, if you show them the
your
way,
history,
the
your past,
and that we're not just a couple of heathens just trying to start something up. That we have we have a background, we have something that we're not.
That you're serious. You're serious players in the space, and we want to be an asset to the city and wherever we're landing.
Right.
Absolutely. I just really I locked in on this. Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
No, but for us,
that's not the normal route either. Yeah. You have to
because now for us, a lot of the cities did. I don't know if Fullerton did, but I know ours was. All the fire inspectors, these were all independent contractors. The city got away from having all this overhead by doing independent contractors. Wow. So the fire chief, the engineers, different ones, were all independent.
The Wild Wild West.
They get paid. So that they'll get paid by the city, say $80,000 a year, whatever, to come in and do all this stuff. So now we're dealing with another entity that really didn't have power, but the mayor could step in.
No checks and balances or anything.
No. So if they didn't like you. We don't care, but they're contracted by 6 cities. Like one was contracted by Beaumont, Ontario. I mean,
just
this is his money. And so it's like, what the heck? So we were dealing with that kind of problem. So when you're dealing with that, because the city, they're not for the city. They don't care. They're just going by they're
getting paid.
They're going by what they want, what they believe, and so it was a little bit harder. But we got through all the hurdles. But it did take a little bit extra work with the mayor and some of the other city councils and stuff like that to help push us because we did have pretty much the board on our side, which was good.
You have to.
And that's what kind of helped. And a lot of them were young as well, which was good because they all liked the paintball or airsoft. They liked the sport. And Paris again was really pushing to have sport. Of some sport thing in.
So that's good because they were pro business. They wanted unique sports in this, so that's definitely on your side.
And the land that we were taking had no bearings on anything. It was like land that could not even be built on.
I was gonna say if it has no value, why not make something out of that?
It literally had no value because where it was at that they couldn't build homes on. They still can't. They can't build homes or nothing on. So to the city it had nothing.
Obstacles in your way. I don't. It's not making any money.
And one of our inspectors, because obviously, I build buildings with no roofs for the plane.
There's a game you got to play with that.
So then one of the guys that came out, the inspector, he goes, "Well, you got to nail 6 inches. I'm not building a house. It's got to be 6 inches on
and what you call certain structures are red flags, right? So we're not. It's not a house.
Right.
Well, what is? Well, what constitutes a house in your book? Well, it has to be this tall. Okay, so if I make it this much shorter, it's not okay. You have to play that game, right? Yeah. Like on my plans, I had picnic tables out there, right, for the state there. I just didn't think they're picnic tables, right? And they were like, "Oh, picnic tables. You need a food license." Okay. Load tables. Oh, okay. Or I had lockers, right? Oh, lockers, gym. Oh, hygiene. This. Okay. Storage boxes. Okay, good. It's like, what the heck? What universe am I living in?
No, and
what words you choose?
It became wording. Yeah, it all became wording because we had no foundation and no roofs, and so then all of a sudden now that's fine. You don't have to make it earthquake proof.
A lumber yard doesn't have the same kind of fire protection. That can go up in smoke like that, but yet I have to be like.
Well, that's where that one inspector or the fire chief or whatever, I can't remember exactly when he would try to say we can't do it because the fire hydrant was too far away. I'm thinking, no one lives here. This is like an abandoned place. No one lives here to even worry about that. And so, it all obviously got ditched out. But there's a lot of hurdles when you are starting a new business or a park. You got to do your due diligence. You got to do your homework with the city before you even get your heart set on a location.
If it was that easy, we'd be on every corner.
Yeah.
So there's a reason.
There'll be a Starbucks everywhere. It's not gonna happen. And people say, "Oh, I'm just gonna open." I was like, "Go ahead, go do it."
Just because you play airsoft forever, or airsoft guns, does not mean you know how to run an airsoft business.
Right.
Just like someone who wants to get a restaurant business, which is a tough business especially now, but even before that, just because you go to a lot of restaurants and you know food and you're a foodie and you know how to cook, doesn't mean you know how to run a restaurant.
Right. No, we had a personal close friend that that when we had our paintball business, well, we still have it, I keep saying it, like we have our paintball business, but he wanted to open, he saw how good we were doing it, but we worked hard to get it where it was at, and he saw how good, like, I want to open one. We said, okay, we helped him.
Sure.
After he got into it like a year, it was too much. It was like a lot. He ended up closing down. He goes, he was kind of mad at us. I'm thinking, well, that was nothing on our doing. We told you, it's not everybody can do it.
Like, hey, no, you make it look simple, right?
But we were open. We came for him that it was in their similar area, so it wasn't like we weren't worried about competition. We helped him, and we even got him the product and everything. But he didn't have the proper mindset to run a business, and that's the biggest thing.
Do you think, without getting too personal with him, do you think it was he didn't have the right proper mindset for business or for an airsoft or paintball business?
He wasn't. Probably for business. I would think for business in
regardless,
general. Yeah, it wouldn't matter what it was. Okay. Just business in general. Okay. And a lot of people being self-employed is a lot different than working for somebody else. Obviously, you give up a lot that you don't realize, and you can't call in sick. I mean, you are your employee. You're it. So when someone calls in sick, you're it.
You know what I tell people. And I've said this to my staff too, is what keeps me up at night is, because I could walk away from this and be okay, is I've got people that work for me. Mm-hmm. And if I close up, they don't have jobs.
True.
And they have families. And so every decision I make to make Tac-City profitable in a viable business is to help them as well, right? That's what keeps me up. And if I misstep or do something, where we get shut down or the business just goes down the drain, that scares me to death.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'll be okay. I'll survive. But it's like having a big family that you got to support in a way, right?
And see, for us, yes, we have employees, but our thing is that our customer base is our players.
They're gonna miss you.
So. That's what drives us to keep the business going as strong as it is, and that we put a lot of passion and energy into it to keep it having people having a good time and a fun, safe place to be. Right. And that's what honestly drives us to keep it going. I mean, the headaches that are involved and all that stuff, it's not worth it in general, but the players is what makes it worth it for us. And so that's why we kill ourselves in a sense on point to just keep everything rolling and smooth and keeping the park going. And that's the passion that I want to see, like yourself, other park owners, to have in their facility. That way we're looking for the best interest for the players to have a great time. That's the whole thing. They're coming out to relieve stress and from a bad week or whatever, to come to your location, not to have a argument or a fight or anything else. We are their stress relievers, and so we know that.
Stress, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's where our passion is keeping the facility going, the parks, the storefront, because it's our customer base, it's our players.
I'm always looking. The thing that, what motivates me. Not to mention, obviously, there's always fight or flight kind of thing. So the fright would be my employees not having jobs. Mm-hmm. But what really excites me with the business is when I find a player, or it could be any age, could be a kid, could be an adult, who comes for the first time. And every time you see a first-time player, and then the excitement of, wow, this was awesome.
And they're after the end of the day.
That newbie mentality of the first time. I don't care if it's an adult or a kid or whatever it may be. It's like that energizes. That's awesome. I'm always chasing that. I want to see that. Even once a day, I want to see that.
Yeah, we've been fortunate with our player base. I would say at least 90% is pretty dang solid. Meaning good quality customers that go out of their way to help our new ones. And you get those, it's probably not even 10%. It's probably the 5% that just come to raise havoc, But
that's just life.
So the ones like we deal with new players. I mean, probably like 20% a weekend, right? I mean, it's up there.
Especially since COVID.
Yeah. So we're seeing families full on. We're seeing full on families, moms, dads, brothers, sister, all play. Mm-hmm. And at the end, we always ask them, saying, "Oh yeah, that was the best thing we ever had." And so that's what makes us feel good that we're doing the right thing and keeps us motivated to keep keep doing it. Because if we had that 5% and that was 70%, there is no way.
You're not going to be in business anymore.
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't even do it.
In Airsoft, we have even these crazy times, right? And there's a lot of fields and stores that aren't going to make it or haven't made it. But the ones that we're still here, there's a great opportunity here because things are starting to open up, but there are a lot of limitations to what people could do to entertain themselves or just to stress relief. And so Airsoft has kind of filled in that, because there's no movies to go to. They couldn't go to sporting events, whatever. So from Airsoft purchasing, because we talked about earlier how sales are kind of going crazy at a crazy level, to attendance, we have an opportunity as a sport to take advantage of the spotlight on our sport because there's hardly anything else to compete with.
100%.
And not to say that they're all going to stay with us, but there's a great opportunity as an industry to keep them, to add to our Airsoft base, regardless of stores, fields, or whatnot. And like any tragedy or hard times, there's always a bright side or light in the tunnel. And I think as an industry in Airsoft, we need to look at that. This is an opportunity to leverage.
No, and you're 100% right, because that's what we were talking about, is that the pandemic, as bad as it was also a good thing in a sense, meaning that it did bring new people that never knew about Airsoft or sport looking for something else to do with their family to get them out of the house, and Airsoft was there. And so it brought new clientele that would never know about us or even tried us if this didn't really happen.
Now it's up to us to keep them.
Right. And so that's what we're saying, that now we have them, we want to make sure they had a good time, and obviously they do. We're not satisfied until they have a good time, but we haven't. I mean, you can't please 100%, but I would say
that's the goal. Yeah.
95% of them they walked away with smiles on their face, and the exposure to them was that. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better thing to get that kind of exposure. And fortunately, it caused a pandemic to do all that.
It helped funnel up to Airsoft.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
And so now that they have it, they might not play it every weekend, but they now know about it.
It's on their radar.
It's on their mind. Now they know. And so now if they're like, a month from now, it's like, hey, you remember when we played Airsoft? Hey, let's go try that again. That was fun. And so at least it's on there. You're
going to either get the casual one that comes back every couple months, or I'm hooked. Now I'm coming every week. Right? That's just the nature of the beast. But in either case, it's on their radar that wasn't there before.
Correct. And that's what we've seen. I mean, we do a special thing at our park that all new players that came to our park. Doesn't mean they're new to Airsoft, but they get a green wristband.
We do the same thing.
So by doing that, we know how many new players. I mean, we're going through green wristbands, like ordering more. I was like, oh my God, we're going through so many new players. I mean, so we're looking at it, but we look at the same things, like, are we going to be able to retain them, or are they going to come back?
And you can do everything you can to do it. Sometimes, like you said, sometimes they're just going to be a casual. There's just nothing you can do. They had great experiences. That's just something they tried. Others, like you said, they're like, I'm all in, and can I live here? We're all,
And we see them when we have designated customers. We see them every weekend. And they go sometimes both days.
Yeah.
I mean, they're that addicted.
That means you're onto something.
And so now we know, we pretty much almost know them all by name. If we don't, we know 100% by face.
Sure.
So I mean, but it did, like I said, it did boost our thing. And so now, just like you were saying, our database was this size of players. Now we have this bigger database.
Sure.
So the funnel, the end result.
What are we going to do with it now, right?
Exactly. So now our numbers staying more solid here because you're dealing with a larger base.
So Randy, we got questions to get to.
Yeah,
all right.
I guess
so,
we do.
Thanks to our Instagram followers, whatnot. We got some questions for you. Got questions for me. Some of them we can overlap.
Correct.
So we're going to start off with you. We'll go back and forth the questions, and we'll go from there. Okay, here's a good one for both of us. What are your thoughts on Thunderbeasts sound grenades and the future of tactical equipment like them?
We allow Thunderbeasts at our park. I mean, we don't allow you to put anything inside of them. We allow them to go off, but we do treat them as we give you a kill radius. We don't want you putting anything in them because people were putting rocks, BBs, and everything else. Yeah, so we had to stop all of that when we do catch it for the danger purpose, because we don't know. There's no. It's unknown what's going to happen, how they're going to come out and stuff. So we couldn't allow that. we don't allow the shells, the Bang 22s, or anything that takes a round, a real ammunition. People bring them to our park. We don't allow them, but they'll go, "Hey, can we just throw one? There's no one on." And they're loud. We're in the trailer. It's like boom. It's like, oh my god. Yeah. So we have reasons why we don't allow certain things, and not because we don't think they're cool. We think they're awesome, but we got to look at all the players that we are catering to and safety for everyone at the park. And so yes, people get mad because you bought it from e-bike or you bought it from stores that sell them, but it doesn't make it safe to play at a field or a park. And we are strict on those rules because we don't need those liabilities from our standpoint in dealing with it. And so Thunderbeasts been good. I mean, they're still kind of dangerous because when they blow up, they fly off, and But we've never, out of the 10 years or whatever, 11 years now, no one's been hurt by them.
Right.
But the Bang 22s, and there's other ones that use the like 9mm shells or the 22. We had one incident where it just was a fluke, but someone got his leg cut with one because of it, and we don't want to take that chance.
So you hit on a good point. So when you guys buy equipment, whether it's at wherever it may be, and where you're going to end up playing, you should check with that field before you buy a piece of equipment if it's allowed or it's okay before you go down that path.
Yeah.
Because there's a common thread going on here. Everything we're telling you is not because we don't want you to have certain types of equipment. It's all because of safety. Right, so that's the common thread of why something's allowed or not allowed. It's always safety.
Right.
So it's to your best interest before you start buying things because it's cool. And if you plan on wanting to play with it, you better check with the field or fields that you play with at to see if it's allowed.
And it's so easy to get a hold of you and I off the Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Absolutely.
And we do get those messages all the time. Hey, I'm at this store. I want to buy this thing. Do you guys accept them? And I was like,
masks
no.
and things of that nature. Yeah.
And they'll send me a picture or a link to it, and I'll
There's
look
so
it up.
many things coming out there, like we can't keep track of.
Right.
But we have an idea what our criteria is, right?
And so, unfortunately, we have to turn a lot of the cool things that are coming out that we love. I mean, you and I would want to play with them all day, but we just can't.
Putting our business owner hat on.
Yes. And then as a business, we just can't, and that's why now, even like with the smoke grenades, we only allow the Enola Gay smokes for our outdoor when it's not all dry brush and all that stuff. So we had to ban it on top. But we stick with them because they actually have all the insurance and patents, and they'll back the store, the field up in case any incident does happen. Where the other companies that do make them do not have that policy,
right.
And so we stick with certain companies that will back us up in case something tragic does happen, or knock on wood, nothing's there again. But if something happens, so that's why we are so strict with certain companies that we're only dealing with. And so we get a lot of mad people when we have to tell them no. But always check with us.
First.
Do your homework. Check with us. You can hit us up on the back end all the time, even at the store. If you're about to buy it, you can say, "Hey, by the way, I'm going to buy this. Would you guys allow it?" No. Okay, I don't want to buy it now.
Our phone number for Code Red's linked to our store, and we're always open at the
Easy
store,
enough.
So.
Do your homework.
So
we allow them. They don't. For us, they're just distraction. We don't have kill zones or anything like that. It's more of a distraction. It has to be rolled underhand.
Right.
And everything for the most part is loud here.
Yeah. Indoors.
But the Thunderbeasts is only for adults because I've years ago we had a kid leaving his hand.
So I remember those.
Okay, none of that. All right, adults only. But then the what is it? The Airsoft Innovations. The
tornado
with the cellophane.
Oh yeah, that one.
That's
a
lot safer.
Yeah.
It may not be as loud, but for the kids, we allow that.
Yeah, where it just blows out the bottom.
Yes.
Like Airsoft Innovation was cool. I mean, they come out with some cool stuff, but the only problem with some of these manufacturers like that, they don't check with the industry either. They just make the cool stuff. They don't even know if parks are going to allow it or not allow it, and they don't hit us up.
Okay, you're touching on a subject that's with field owners. I've had this discussion with a few manufacturers. Like they come out with this gun or whatever. Like, did you even think about, like, for instance, I don't know about you, but I hate it, or it drives me nuts as a field owner. Well, all these quick change, spring adjusting, where on the fly modifications, where like you just change the velocity, like this, that, whatever. Like, did you ever think about the fields? Like, we have to regulate that, and now we got more problems.
Well, yeah,
they don't check with us.
They don't check.
Or get our input that maybe we can increase sales. If you ask us what we can sell or what the demand is, as opposed to sitting overseas in front of on the internet and guessing based on what you search on the internet how popular things are.
Well, remember, they got kind of away from it, but because we were on them for the early days. Oh, this gun shoots 450. Well, what park allows 450?
Outdoor or otherwise, right?
Yeah. No park allows that. And then we'll get that every weekend. It's like, I just bought the gun and it's 430. Well, we can't allow it. It's over the
have fun in
limit.
your backyard.
But the manufacturers are not in sync with the stores or in the fields in U.S. because I heard in other countries they allow them to shoot out hot. Europe. But here we do not. And so if your gun is shooting over the limit with .20, this is the other dilemma we have. With .20s, the gun has to chrono at the 400, and then you can use weights afterwards. But you can't come to my field.
Try to pass with 2.5s or something.
Test with 2.5s to get to the 400. You can't do it.
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
We allow 2.5s, but you got to pass chrono at 2.0.
2.0s. And that's where we're on the same 100% page. Let everyone out there know that Sonny's not doing anything different than I'm doing. So we have to pass it that way because we go, my gun's shooting 450, but I use 3.0s and it's bound. It's like, no, you're not doing it. We had one guy who said his gun was shooting 500. He was at another park, and they allowed it because he used 4.0 BBs. I go, oh my God.
And then keep in mind also fields with the we talked about chronos earlier, right? So you might pass that at another field, but I don't know what kind of chrono they use. And if you're going to go to my field, be prepared, if you haven't already, like to pass my chrono. And just don't get bent out of shape if you pass at a different field with a weird paintball chrono or whatever it may be, and then you come back to ours and it doesn't pass. Well, everybody's playing on that field is basing it on this chrono, and this is the one that matters. Right. Same thing at your field. It's your chrono that matters nothing else. Right.
So
do your homework.
And again, I guess to go out to the world out there is that as park owners, we all are now kind of in sync, and we talk to each other. So if you're a bad player with Sonny, Sonny calls me. It's like, oh, okay, we'll be waiting for Adam.
He's on the way. Here he comes.
Yeah, and so here's
all his names, his aliases, and he thinks he's smart.
And his pictures and Instagram and Facebook. So you can't really hide the things, and so we are getting way more in sync with each other now as field owners, and so because we don't need the riffraff, we don't need your money at all. We rather keep our other.
You're bad for business.
Yeah, we rather keep our other 99% of our customers that are good customers that don't cause us problems or creating issues keep coming back, compared to that 1% of you guys that want to be bad. So.
Go play each other in the backyard. How's that?
Right?
Just
hit each other up like you guys always talk, and then meet up somewhere and do your own thing. All right, this is actually it's a tech question. So it's gas blowback pistols or rifles, and why? Well, there's two questions.
Which one's better? Which one's better?
I'm assuming that's why.
Okay. All right.
To me, you need both. So I think you need a gas blowback pistol, and you're probably an AEG style rifle to start off with. And a gas rifle off the bat is a little bit much. But if you start off with if you're gonna do both, I think you need both in the airsoft world because of the close quarter environment. So you could drop your rifle, pull your pistol, and if you
malfunction.
And if you can only afford one, I would probably go with a rifle first and then get your pistol. Unless you're playing here at Tac, because they probably play more pistols here, right? Or no?
It's a good question. Even.
Even?
I know we're known for pistols, but there's a lot of rifles too. So I would agree with you on that because I would say if you're picking one as a general rule, gas is always something that's kind of the wild card in the scenario where when you're dealing with batteries and springs and whatnot, that's simpler.
Well, it's simpler too because you can charge your batteries.
Right.
Where green gas guns, you have to be near a park because you can't just get green gas easily. So you have to be by a park or a store that sells it. Where an electric rifle,
there's two consumables involved with that,
exactly.
As opposed to an AEG just the BB.
So, like I said, I think they're both a necessity. But if I had to pick one off the bat, I would do a AEG rifle first.
And I'd probably stay away from as a general, even for advanced. I don't know. We used to sell gas blowback rifles.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
They're a little bit. They're very temperamental. Let's just say that, and it's super expensive to get into. And if you're all about milsim, then maybe that's the case. But you're not getting high cap, and it's just.
No, I think if you're ever going to go the gas rifle thing, go with like the Catheras, where you don't have all the batteries and stuff, and they're air powered. with the tank. You are spending a little bit more, but you're having a lot less issues with those.
It's expensive, but to what end, right? I mean,
But that's more advanced level, so don't even think about that until you're at that level.
So I would agree with that. SoCal custom patches. Can I make a patch that says it's always sunny at Tac-City? Would you be interested in those? That sounds hilarious. Why don't you email us at info@Taccityairsoft.com and
they
some
could
ideas. That's kind of funny.
They could do it like this. Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but it has like I think Danny DeVito's face.
Yeah,
so you can have your face,
exactly.
Your face.
Yeah, that's probably where you got the idea.
Right?
I love that. Yeah, no, email me. I'm interested.
Started going to Code Red early 2020. I'm wondering when is the next zombie event?
There you go.
Well,
zombies.
In case you didn't know,
Or did they die from the pandemic?
Yeah, a lot of them did. So we've been doing zombie events since 2010, right before actually Walking Dead came up, and it became one of our claim to fame type events. We were doing in the beginning. We were going crazy. We were doing like 4 events a year every quarter, and then we did that for the first like 3-4 years when we did a lot, and then we started tapering down to 3, and then when we went to 3 to 2, then we went to 2. And of course, the pandemic killed it because we were getting ready to do one, and then the pandemic hit, and then
killed zombies.
Killed everything.
Right.
So we missed that whole season, and then obviously we couldn't do it this year because our zombie events require touch, and so we have to wait to this coronavirus.
Where we can
touch again.
Because it won't work with within a
not the same. It wouldn't be the same.
You got to sneak up on them,
right?
Well, because they're coming out to play this specific event. This isn't just a random thing. It's based off of stories, and they find objectives that go with the story. And if they go back and watch all the videos, it was based off of certain events that was going on. So one year we had the monarch butterflies that were just overrunning everything. So the story was based off of that. Another story was based off of the fires, and so it was kind of world events that was going on.
Timely. That
they didn't really realize, but yes, there were objective base.
Because if you were to, so I think that's a good thing to do is like, don't morph it to try to adjust to what you can do, because it's not going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Just be patient to do it exactly the way you've always done it,
right.
and not because you're taking a chance if you water it down or morph
it won't be the same,
because the formula might not be gold.
Well, because we got a lot of customer base that honestly literally only play. They don't play Airsoft. They only play our zombie event, and so they've been looking for that. So we don't want to change our form. We have the perfect formula how we do the zombie event, and it's successful at it. So we don't really want to divert from that. And so unfortunately, everyone has to be patient. We got game plans in the works, but we just don't know how this year is going to play out. And so we can't even give you a definite date if we can do it. I mean, our goal from this point right now would have been October, but we don't know where we're going to be.
But let me ask you this: is that still a possibility, regardless if you don't know? Is it definitely a no?
It's not definitely a no.
Okay, so there's I'm not going to pin you down to a percentage chance, but let's say it's on the table.
October will be on the table.
I think the thing is they make us feel really good that they enjoy these zombies events, and sometimes it takes me 2 to 3 months to come up with all this stuff because I have to have these crazy objectives.
Sure.
They all laugh, but
so the clock is ticking. So it literally have to be like by July you'd have to.
I would.
But the climate it would have to change enough for you to be allowed to. Okay.
Well, we do have, because we did have one almost pre-planned, so we kind of can go off of that one. So it wouldn't be as brutal to make October happen. It's just that
the time frame is shrinking where you have to say yes or no, right?
Yes, because people, they save their money. Because like he said, there are some people that we only see them for
and
events.
we do cap that, even though we can go way higher. We do cap that event at 200.
I wonder if there's a way you could because since you cap it, is somehow have I hate to say this, but some kind of vaccination. I don't know, somewhere where no one would have an issue with whoever's there. It's safe and you can't touch.
Right. We did talk.
I mean, there'll be a lot of hoops you have to jump through to do it, but how?
We talked about having smaller events with smaller groups, and then just doing more frequently. But
still not the same.
Again, it's just these zombies or events are specifically targeted for certain stuff, and people only come out to play them because
so that'd be too much of a change, you think?
Yes, yes.
But yeah, the zombie thing is a lot of people are missing it. We do get that question quite a bit. And,
well, that's good. That tells you something.
We thought it was going to fade out. I mean, we didn't think it was going to go this long. It's been 10 years. I mean, so we didn't think we were going to keep going on.
Zombies. Zombies are still rolling.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to read this, Randy. Here we go. Can you unban me? It was at Code Red with unregulated rules, not TAC. I'm nice there. So, this is that Adam guy. So let me answer that real quick. No.
Nope.
No.
Let's take a vote. No.
Majority rules.
Try paintball.
So, or maybe Nerf.
Nerf. That's more your style. What's the worst situation you had to deal with at your field? Wow. I actually read a few of these before it came on, and I was thinking about that one. We had a death.
Really?
I want to say about 6 years ago. Heart attack.
Wow.
And that was pretty hard. Basically, in a nutshell, guy was fairly young. He was in his late 30s. He was with his, I think it was his nephew. They came off the field, and I find this out all later, right? Initially, what happened was, I'm in the showroom, and one of the refs said, "Hey, we have a guy that's collapsed on the staging." So I go over there and get him on the side, recovery position, and he's having some seizures. So I'm thinking, okay, sometimes guys with seizures, you just let them ride it out, and as long as they're not choking, whatever. But then he stopped. He said, "Okay, call 911," and they were here really fast. And they took him. His vital signs were really low, and they took him. I think he died on the way. Wow. So in hindsight, what happened was they came off the field, and I was asking his nephew. I said, "So was he anything?" He said, "Was he huffing and puffing? Anything?" Did he? No, we were having a conversation, just as normal as can be. Sat down at the picnic tables. He was sitting there, and all of a sudden he said, "He's like, oh shit," and he fell back. I was like, wow. And then it turns out that he had a lot of health issues, a lot of medications and whatnot. But that's kind of tough because you're like, man, is there anything we could have done better? Or it's just. Now it wasn't airsoft related. It was just, but that's about as tough as it can get.
Yeah, I mean,
we've not had anything.
We have nothing like one of our not bad. I mean, it's bad, but not that bad. We had at our old park. I was walking out. A customer had just rented a gun, and was walking out towards the field, towards his friends. And I'm walking out there. All of a sudden, I see that guy, the same guy, just did take the gun and fling it with his left arm and hit someone in the back of the head with the rental gun.
Oh my gosh!
I'm running out there. I was like, "What the heck?" I'm getting ready to tackle this guy, and come to find out he was having a seizure.
Oh, he just reacted.
Yeah, so he's having a seizure, going crazy, and then his friend, we got him to the ground and do the normal stuff until it all calmed down. His friend goes, I go, "Why didn't you tell anybody?" "Well, we didn't want to say anything because we didn't know if you allow him to play airsoft or not." "Well, now it's worse."
The friend was okay with the get.
No, that wasn't even a friend. It was another customer.
Was that guy okay?
Yeah, he was, because he swung and hit him in the back, and he's walking towards me. He goes, "Man, that guy just hit me with the gun." I go, "Yeah, I'm on it." And so.
You're ready to tackle.
Yeah, but I mean, it was scary at the time. He had a full-on hardcore seizure.
Was he okay after?
He was okay after, okay. Yeah. And but his friend goes, "Yeah, it happens to him all here and there." I mean, like all the time. I'm thinking, oh my god. And he said all the time, and that's why it's like, you need to let us know this. So we kind of
so we're an outdoor facility. We get very hot. We have people come out that are not prepared. Mm-hmm. So we teach our refs to look for signs. Yeah. We also, on hot days, the refs have water. And we go around and it's like, okay, this is a sign of this is a sign of this. Yeah. And we teach them to look for stuff. If they're, having problems out on the field, it's like, okay, you know what, and I tell them, it doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. If you see a player that looks like they're drunk out on the field, just radio it in. we'll take care of it.
Right, because those are the first signs, yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, that's one
Cramping,
thing.
yeah.
We've always done, if we've got little, we call them littles when they're little. If we've got a little that's like kind of not running right, you know what, just come get me. I'll bring them into the trailer and we'll cool them off. Because a lot of times they want to be like big brother or dad and they put all this gear on. And
the
it's,
heat.
yes, and they're just beat red. And I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and do this.
Or their mom.
Even adults, they don't know.
Or the moms are like putting sweatshirts on them and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
they're like, no, it don't hurt that bad. But they're all bundled up, and so we try like, you're
when I worked at Warped in Castaic, it was the same thing too. It's like, drink even when you're not thirsty. Yeah,
and that's the problem with the kids that we find they don't want to. They don't want.
You gotta force them to do.
We look because we sell drinks there and stuff like that. And when we open our refrigerator and it's still like pretty full. We tell the refs, hey, walk that staging, walk that staging area, see what's going on.
That's a good idea.
So, but we haven't had like knock on wood, we haven't had anything really crazy of injuries. We did have some more injuries at our old park with the trench field. We had bigger guys thinking that they can jump into a 4 foot ankles, mostly ankles and stuff like that, and so that's why I'm really not thrilled to try to bring back a trench field because there is that possibilities.
So that's one reason why we don't have stairs at my field. Because I get that question, why do you don't have stairs? Well, it sounds good in theory, but okay, so no matter what I put on the stairs to make it slip resistant or whatever, you're walking upstairs, getting shot at, probably shooting at the same time, not paying attention, or going down. Recipe for disaster. This is not...
Any of the paintball parks that have the stairs all have a lot of injuries, and that'll probably go away.
That's why I tend to go for ramps more than anything. But
if we were going to do anything multi-level, because people ask us that, if we ever decide that it will be what you're talking about, it'll be a ramp style and a way that you can't just fall.
Or I would have it so that they set up the game where whoever's in that position goes there in the beginning, they get shot and they stay there. Right? They're not going up and down as a live target.
No, it is cool. Like I said, I see the cool idea, but as a park owner's perspective, the liability that lays way behind it outweighs the cool factor.
I say that all the time to my guys and customers that says, look, I'm putting on my player's hat. Awesome idea. That'd be awesome to play. That's great. And then I take that hat, my business owners, okay, somebody's going to get hurt here. I can't do that. So there's two different things here. And you don't think it as a player, what we have to think about, right? But
yes.
Are you prior service? You give off a strong military vibe. LOL. I am not prior service. Of course, my dad was. And a lot of our friends and family are, but I never was. So maybe I just been around them so long, I put off that look.
Happens, right?
I think the other thing is not only is our storefront paintball, it's also military.
Yeah, military.
We're very close to a military base. So we did at one point have the soldiers coming in before they would fly out and get stuff. So we learned from them. We asked a lot of questions.
It kind of rubs off on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we learned the lingo and the stuff like that.
What works for them.
Right. And that also helped, obviously, because we get a lot of military guys at our park. Sure. I think that was one of our questions too. But we get a lot of military guys at the park, so we can handle them, in a certain way because they got their own way.
You can understand them and vice versa.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so
I get it.
So one of the questions was, being that both Sonny and I were in paintball. We were in paintball before all this tournament-wise and stuff. Do you think who do you think would win at 1-on-1 versus 1 paintball game? Wait.
Between us.
Between us. God, I don't know now. I don't know if I'll break a hip nowadays, but
I'll say we trade out. How's that?
Yeah, I think it would be probably a
diplomatically.
Next
show I'll say that I win.
But back in the day, man, I had the moves. Yeah, I was good. But now I'm not too sure.
You played the woods ball too, right?
Yeah, so I didn't play too much wood balls. I did a little bit, but I went directly into the tournament ball back in the Pan Am days.
Okay.
If anybody knows paintball.
And before that was Great Western.
Great Western. Yeah. So I think I did one event with Great Western, then it got switched over to Pan Am, and then we did and this is 2001, we did all the Pan Am series, and it was kind of funny, we created our team out of the player from customers from our store, and we all meshed. And we were winning, and it was
isn't that funny? Because I'm sure you get this question even in Airsoft, like all the times, like how do you start a team, right? It's always that classic. There's no stock answer. Like even
it was just customers that came in. Oh, you like paintball? Oh, do you play? Oh yeah.
Hey, you seem like a cool guy.
So
okay,
we just meshed, and we honestly went out having just fun, meaning that we didn't take it serious.
As opposed to like you're really good and you're really good.
Yeah.
And
it's changed so much.
But
now.
you're an asshole. But you're really good.
Yeah, it's not even the same anymore. Yeah. But we went out just to have fun, and we barely practiced, and we were just winning. And it was just
no pressure.
There was no pressure. Right. I mean, we were driving all over and winning. When we had moved up and went more into the pro level of it, it became no fun. And that's when we all got out of it because the level changed. It wasn't fun anymore.
It became a source of stress.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it.
Yes.
And so
I think I probably was. We kind of overlapped a little bit because I started like in '90. So I was primarily woods. That went arena from like '98 to 2000.
Oh, gotcha.
Like World Cup. So
yeah.
Most of mine was woods, but I did play arena and World Cup on that. So it's kind of like
because arena was like 2001. Arena was still new because we were traveling to Arizona and playing on pallet fields.
Yeah,
in the
so
dirt.
like hyperball.
Yeah, hyperball.
So I remember playing arena in I think it was World Cup '98, and it was weird. Orlando, of course. So they had half the fields were woods ball. And then two arenas were one was hyperball and one was inflatables.
Barely inflatables.
Right, exactly. And but depending on what game and what team it was a mixture.
Was it the inflatables that had the connecting tubes to them?
Yeah. Yes. Right. And it was so new. It was so new. I tell the story all the time. I remember playing. So I played 5-man that first year. I played 5-man. We just so. Eric Felix, myself, another guy on our team Shockwave, and then we picked up two guys that turned out to go onto the French team, French Flingers. So Frederic and Fabrice, which went on to anyways, they were like 15 years old, right? And Robo Robinson, we were just three guys, and we came in early. We're gonna play 5-man. We didn't know. Hey, I got two kids that are really good. All right, we picked them up. And we came up with some weird name. I forget what. We came in like third in the world in 5-man, just having fun. And we took on the first game was an arena. Again, first time we played arena, and we took on Image the first game of the first tournament, and we destroyed them.
Wow.
And we and they didn't know who we were. We kind of kept, and then we picked up our masks. Oh, whatever, cussing at us. But anyways, what was I getting at? So 5-man. 10-man, that was 10-man at that time. I think 7-man went into like 2000, something like that.
No, 7-man was a little bit like 2002, I think 2003.
Like Super 7 or something like that?
Yeah, Super 7 finally came out. But yeah, we were all 5-man, and we were all hopper ball at the time with Pan Am.
Yeah, you're limited paint,
limited,
right?
Only a hopper only.
200 rounds. 200 rounds. And then 10-man was 800. Something like that?
Yeah, you had a little bit more.
Drove me nuts.
We dominated that hopper ball thing. It was kind of funny because we got so used to the hopper ball, and then we would play unlimited paint. We were still only wasting them out with hopper ball.
I was notorious for just shooting crazy amounts of paint. So like they'd be throwing me pods. And I was like, I gotta settle down.
Oh no, when we did unlimited, our back guys would carry honestly a full case or so. Yeah, man, it was. I mean,
crazy. 800 I could deal with, but the 200, oh my god, it would just drove me nuts.
Yeah,
because it seemed to me like with 5 on 5, I was shooting a lot more because you're required to because there's less people, right? I felt like I was on the limit of running out more often on 5-man than it did in 10-man. 10-man, I could hold my own with 800 rounds.
It was always funny though when you had hopper ball and you knew that guy was out and he just pointed a gun at you and can't do nothing.
Yeah. But then there's always those, if you know who you're playing with, or if you know that maybe it's a new guy or a new kid or a new team. Sometimes you can always play that, especially with the Pan Am because there's limited paint.
Right.
You can always kind of trick them or see if they'll fall for the oh shit, I'm out of paint.
Yeah.
And they get up, I have out some more. Right?
Yep.
See if they fall for that, or my gun's down. Okay.
Because what we did, we always gave our front guys, the fast runners, half a pod, and then the rest got to the back guys.
Because they should not be up all the time.
So we had our tricks, but we had fun at it, like I said. And then later on in the years, it just became no fun, and so it was like, I'm over this.
Stress. It was like team politics, who's getting more playing time. Yeah, it was. I felt the same way. I was like, this. It used to be a stress relief, and it's becoming a source of stress.
Yeah, it was no fun.
When will there be more diamond I say swag.
Diamond swag.
So I think he's referring to our membership. We have diamond memberships. Yeah, I'm open. Email us some ideas. I'm always looking to increase the membership goodies and benefits. So email me at info@Taccityairsoft.com. Give me some ideas, and yeah, let's add some more to the diamond level.
Why is Storm Airsoft so damn cute?
He is so cute.
Who is this?
So Storm is one of our customers from the early days, but he also became YouTube famous from our location. Yeah, he had posted a couple of videos, and all of a sudden one finally took off. Unfunny moments. And it wasn't his normal way, and he actually just made that video kind of like more on I guess like on a fluke, and it just took off, and that's what he's known for. And so he's got like I think he's up to a million subscribers. He's got quite a bit, but he does come out pretty much almost every weekend. He does work now a real job, and so we don't see him as often. But
so damn cute. So I'm guessing that's a female.
I don't know.
You
get a lot of guys coming
be
up.
careful with that. Remember.
I am Daniel Torres.
Never mind. Sorry.
But no, Storm is actually one of the great, a great YouTuber. Yes. He's very personable. Yes. Yeah, never feel fear. Never have the fear to come say hi to him. It is. We get a kick out of it because we get these kids that come in and they just get so big-eyed over him and almost cry, so excited. And then they just want his little signature, and he spends the time. He will spend the time with each person. Yeah. He never will blow you off, but he is very personable. So when you do see Storm at the park, definitely say hi to him.
Well, that's good.
He will. Yeah,
I don't know if I've ever met him or if he's ever been here, but if he does,
I know he's not a indoor guy, but he is definitely a good guy to meet.
I'll check out he's got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All right,
I think it's StormAirsoft.com or StormAirsoft YouTube or something like that.
I haven't seen that one.
Would Code Red ever open on Fridays or the weekdays? So weekday stuff for an outdoor park has never worked. Literally has never worked. We are always open for people that want to do a private event. You can definitely do that. And we've done that with different organizations as well. So our week stuff is either done usually for maintenance for an outdoor park or for special events or private events. Right. So anyone that wants to do a private event during the week, it's always open. I mean, it's like a 20-person kind of a minimum. You're looking at like $500-600, and you can have an event at the park during the week. But for us to open up to the public during the week, it would never
because that's tough. Because typically outdoor fields are a little bit of a drive outside the main parts of the cities, so you wouldn't be able during the week. There's not enough people available to make that drive or to make it worth your while.
Well, technically now it's almost over. But during the pandemic, we probably could.
Because they're itching for something, right?
Because you didn't have. All the parents weren't working, the kids weren't in school, so you had something else.
Right?
So that would have been different, but when everyone's back to work, parents are working, when you're going to drop your kids off and pick up, it's just too...
And have enough of them to show up to make it worth your while.
It would never work, unfortunately.
Okay, you get 10, but what are you going to do with that?
Right? Yeah. It's not going to pay the bills.
So that's unfortunately is not. But if you ever want one, everyone who wants one, you can set up your own private event. We'll be glad to open the park up for you guys for that private event.
Because there's industries, I'm going to say pre-pandemic, such as the restaurant industry, where they have weird schedules, where they can't come on weekends because that's their busy time.
No, we get that all the time.
Or even weekday nights, but weekdays they might have a private group. Or there's certain industries like that can't do that. That's not like the normal, but there's certain.
No, there's definitely.
It's not enough to make it like we're always open on Monday. It's just not.
It just
feasible.
Yeah, we tried. I think we tried it once or twice, and it never panned out. Never panned out. Yeah. Code Red is known for having its multiple neighboring maps that are that all lend to different styles of play. How do you go about creating and designing a new field?
And how often?
So with our fields, I had design ideas of what I wanted. So we already had District 9 from the old field, and so we knew we wanted to do that. And so we had all this lumber from our old park when we had to cut down all the buildings. One of the guys, this is again, Walking Dead was still really as popular, and season 4 just happened to finish, and there was a scene in there called Terminus.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know too much about it because we weren't even really watching Walking
cannibals.
Dead. Yeah, the cannibal. Yeah, and so the guy goes, "You got to watch that scene." So we watched it. It's like, oh yeah. So he goes, "I can help you. I can help you build it." I said, okay. So when we took the old walls, all the houses down, we just cut them in like 8-foot sections, so they're just solid walls. Sure. So we end up building Terminus on that. So that's how Terminus came about. And then we had that. Then we had our old field. We had a Black Hawk Down field. So we my one firefighter buddy was there for Black Hawk, so he drew out me a sketch on how the city was designed. And so we kind of just built off of that, obviously in a smaller scale. No Black Hawk, though. I was always sad because all these people promised me Black Hawks, but if you have one out there in the world, let me know. But I never got one. And then the Code Red Redemption, which was our claim to fame field now, was always something we wanted to do as a nice Western style field. It didn't come out exactly. Yeah. Well, we named it that off the game, but it was more of a Western field. But then we played the rule with the Red Dead Redemption, so we said Code Red Redemption. So we designed it to play the way it is. It didn't come out 100% like I really wanted it. I really wanted it real old school Western style. But it worked. It came out, and it's still work. We're work in progress. We're always constantly trying to add more little things to it as people playing. Then we know which way they're going to play. Originally, we designed a field to play a certain way, and then the players dictated how it's going to play.
That happens.
So now we had to kind of redesign and stuff. So that's kind of how we redesigned the fields, and since we're also real shooters as well, we walk fields and look at angles. So that way it is a tactical field that how to shoot different angles and stuff like that. So when we design a field, we look at that as well, not just to be a thrown together thing. It actually a lot of things have a lot of thought process behind it to be able to play it a certain way. And so some days don't play it out that way, but it did have a thought process behind it. Yeah.
No, I agree. We do the same thing.
And then number 4, do you ever play Airsoft? For me, that is a harder one because, again, I also am the tech and we run the shop and all that stuff. So it's a little bit harder for me to get out there to play. I do have some cool guns, but I don't really get to play as often. I might have to come out here actually during the week and play with you guys or play with you.
Yeah, I don't play at all anymore.
So yeah, unfortunately, again, when you become a field owner, you don't really get that. Your playtime is you don't have playtime. You're running your business. Your goal is to make sure your customers are having a good time. You're not thinking about playing the sport of Airsoft. Right.
I think last time I played was looking at that outdoor field in Castag. I played that. That was a few years ago. I
played that one long ago.
Brother Guns 468 does having a tighter barrel help in accuracy? Velocity, right? Accuracy, I guess it, I don't know. I don't think so. I think velocity more than anything else. Accuracy, maybe the length of it.
Well, the hop up, not with the barrel, but the
barrel itself. I'm not sure if it's
not with the accuracy. I mean, you'll gain a little bit depending on the tightness, but you don't want to go too tight. Obviously, you don't want to really go past indoor. You could do 601, outdoor 603. But the hop up and hop up bucking is your key for accuracy.
I would say the tighter the barrel is more of a velocity thing than accuracy.
It can be depending on the.
Again, you have to deal with the buckies and all that stuff. But.
Yeah, so the tighter the barrel, you just don't want to go too tight. So that's the biggest issue is we'll have people that with 601s that play here, come to our park in the dust and dirt, get in there, and they get jams. Yeah. So 603 outdoor, 601 great for indoors. You can pick up accuracy, but it's almost a twofer. You need to do the barrel and the bucking to get that get that answer, to get that perfect.
This is one of your questions, I think. Amazing Park today. When are trenches coming back?
That's what So, Amazing Park today. When are the trench fields coming back? Everyone loved our trench field. We did have a pretty sweet trench field at our old location. I mean, but it took a couple years to get it where it was. I mean, it was a lot of grind of digging them out, shoring them up, getting it the way we wanted it.
Yeah, you got to shore them up. That people don't realize that because of the weather.
Again, no matter how many times you tell a customer or player not to run on top and jump in, or they're crushing him down, and it was a constant battle. But they loved them. And but our new location, the soil is so hard and clay that it's almost impossible to do. I have some
probably once you
concept
dig
ideas.
them out, that'd be awesome. But
the only problem we were thinking is if it does rain or whatever, it would be a moat for for a long time because it don't absorb that well.
That's true.
I mean, we have concepts to do almost like an above ground kind of trench field with using a 6-foot style corrugated piping and make it feel like you're in a tunnel. Yeah. But we are still looking into it. But
it's basically about level changes.
Yeah, that's it. So,
I'd love to have trenches.
I know trenches were it. Cool. Is one platform like the M4 better to play with than others, such as an AK? So
better.
So the only reason I would pick an M4 platform, I mean, which is most of all the weapons I do personally own as well, is because they're so easy to get accessories, magazines, accessories. So when you're playing on a field with buddies, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna have an M4 mag. They're not going to have an AK mag or a G36 mag or an MP5 mag. So you got to look at your environment of who you're playing around. If you're playing with all buddies with AKs, then an AK would be your ideal gun because then it's easier if you're down and throw you a magazine. But the M4 platform, it became such a strong platform on the airsoft industry, and that's why almost every company will only make M4 platforms, majority. Sure. You know, of course, G&G came out with the ARP9s, but those are hard because...
But they start off with M4s, so I mean...
And so, like, I have an ARP 556 that G&G got me, because, again, I wanted the M4, I wanted the magazine. So you have to look at that when you are getting into the airsoft world, is the availability of the parts that you want to get, magazines, accessories, that's going to work with your gun. And that's kind of that's the only reason I would lean more towards the M4, because it's so much easier to get all the accessories.
I would agree. I would say if everything was equal and you had like a top-notch AK tricked out in performance and M4 performance, equals equal. Mm-hmm. But I would equate it almost like working on cars. An M4 is almost like a Chevy 350 small block. There's countless aftermarket accessories and upgrades, where an AK might be like a Fiat or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Tesla or something.
So I mean, maybe if it's top notch, it'll work, but there's less options to personalize it, customize it,
because that's
performance enhancements.
When they come to our park, that's our biggest thing. Is like, oh, do you have any AK mags, or do you have a sight for this AK? Do you have this? And it's like, oh, we don't have it, you know. And then a lot of them, like MP5s, a lot of times for us, we just can't get them from the vendor, but we can get M4 parts or M4 accessories from a lot of the vendors. And so the manufacturers don't even carry a lot of these parts, and so that's what sucks.
It's not in their best interest to carry because there's not demand,
but we have our customer base that have the full loadout, that and the AK it is they're in their loadout. So, but they spend the time to research to find the part and then get all the stuff they need. And so
it's
they
not
don't
readily available. They have to do their homework.
Exactly.
Like MP5s, I love MP5s. The real MP5s. Problem is with airsoft MP5s is the mag, right? You have to go mid caps. Forget about high caps because there's not enough space historically for them to feed properly, right? So that's. I mean, you probably agree with this. So a lot of these platforms sometimes they, other than M4s, they ebb and flow depending on certain movies that came out, certain videos. So there was a time where P90s were hot.
Yeah, we still see
AKs can kind of come back and forth.
Sniper guns.
So sometimes like I'll throw a P90 on the wall and like it goes like that. It's like, wow, people are like, what's that? They've never seen it.
Oh, do you have mags?
But there was a time, years ago where like I couldn't keep P90s in stock. Everybody had a P90, right? So they ebb and flow. But through all that, M4s.
That was that.
Honestly, too. Back again before everything started, MP5s were known to be the beginner type of gun because they were least expensive.
Well, right. Well, also
the price. I mean, it's all changed.
Well, also too is like when we got into airsoft, obviously back in the 2004 or 5, the only gun available to the market was MP5s. Because that was the only gun that didn't have a patent locked up by Tokyo-Marui.
There you go.
Tokyo-Marui owned the patent to the M4s and other platforms, and it didn't expire until 2006.
And then JG.
And then it exploded with because we were, that's all we had. Everyone got so tired of MP5s back then because that's all the guns that we had.
That's right.
And so that's why. So we saw that influx back then for a few years, and then when that patent expired, it was a game on for every M4 one, and the M4. That's why the M4 is
it's still the tried true.
where did you find the huge dinosaurs out front? We have these 2 huge metal dinosaurs, like a T-Rex and something.
Oh, really?
So how that came about is kind of weird in a sense. So the city of Paris had an acre lot, and they had these 2 dinosaurs on them. Mm-hmm. They sold that acre lot. They got to get rid of these dinosaurs. The artist that made them wanted way too much money for anyone to buy. He wanted like $100,000 a piece. But they came to us because we're in the middle of nowhere. Hey, you want these dinosaurs? In case someone wants to ever buy them, can we just put them up here? That's how they came about.
So no one's buying them.
No one's buying them. They moved them over to our location. We put them up front. That's where the dinosaurs are. So, and then ever thought about opening an indoor park? We had that thought process in the early days as well, but I mean, as Sonny can tell you, opening indoor in California is so expensive. He pays way more here than I do for my outdoor facility for land and all that stuff. And so California indoor parks, you got to hand it to you guys that are still hanging in there, because it's a chore in California for sure to have this sizable building to be able to play airsoft. I mean, you need honestly this size and bigger to be able to handle what you
to not turn anybody away.
Yeah, to not turn anybody away. I mean, ideally you need like 100,000 square foot building, which would be sweet. But
I can divide the field into different styles of games and ages.
But you can't.
So that's the beauty of an outdoor field. Right. So you have the space to do a lot.
Yeah, because like this is 30,000 square feet. So his facility here is 30,000 square feet. One of my fields is let's see, 80,000 square feet. One of my fields, and I got 5 of them. Yeah, and I pay a third of his rent. That's why we. Estate, yeah. I mean, the bonus of an indoor like what he has, everything stays nice. He's not going through a lot of bad stuff. Like we got to be weathered with our wood and all that kind of stuff. So we got a lot more maintenance on our side, where we would love an indoor where it's just cleaning. And the reason is, again, we couldn't really afford to do an indoor in California. I'll leave that to you.
It would yeah. Well, so for me going indoor and entertaining the idea of outdoor, like I said earlier, it was not much of a stretch, right? Meaning it was how do I put this? Not downsizing. It'd be it wouldn't be like I'm overextending myself, because it would take less for me to get going, as opposed to you've already got your built-in expenses, and then you're gonna ramp it up even then some for just indoor, and then the payoff might take some time, may not, whatever. So it's probably easier to go from indoor to outdoor than it is to go outdoor to indoor. You'd have to do some. It's just
you're like I said, you're indoor, because we looked at it and the indoor expenses. I mean, we looked at so many old abandoned buildings
you have to go old,
but they were there so many years, and they still wanted 70 cents a square foot. I mean, and think about it, you need a 80,000 square foot. You're looking at $10,000, $15,000, $20,000
to cover that kind of rent. You need to be open 7 days a week. So now you're dealing with staff issues. Now you're dealing with
electric.
Yeah, people don't realize being open 7 days a week. Like, how do you think we build things and stock things and clean things? Like it's like we got to find those moments before we open to take care of everything.
And you can't overstaff, and you can't overpay.
Especially in California.
Yeah, I know,
right? Jay Vasquez, 85, asks opinions on the field Project N1. Why don't you go first?
I know John over there that's been running it and stuff like that, and I'm just not big on indoors. Obviously, I'm outdoors. Not my forte. Yeah. I mean, even I've been in them, and to me, they're just, because I'm so used to the outdoor stuff. I'm so used to the bigger fields, so it's harder to adapt to the smaller fields. And N1 is smaller than your field, so your size is decent, but for me, it's
still
small.
I get it.
And so when I tell people, when they we have our outdoor customers, and they want to go try Tac or N1, and we tell them it's a whole different game, that they play a whole different way. And normally our customers, majority of them will say, "Oh, yeah, that was too close." So it was too much because it's so tough. It really is. So I don't feel N1 is bad, and I feel they are keeping up on the rules. And that's all I look for on any park, is that they stick with the guidelines and the rules that we have set in place, so that we keep the safety of the sport going, and we don't allow the bad players to dictate how we run our fields.
Or to have a refuge to play somewhere. So all the bad players need to not have a place to land. I'm not saying N1. I'm just saying as fields in general, we need to make sure that anybody who's a bad apple doesn't go up to any field and create chaos.
No chaos, right? We got a quick story. The owner of Velocity Paintball, she had contacted me after that one guy. After our weekend, they all decided to go to that field. She never, I guess, dealt with something like that before, and she asked me if I had issues with these players. She gave me the list of players, and those are all the players that are on our list.
You're like, well, let me show you.
Yeah, that's the same players that are on our list that we've already banned for causing the problem. And I kind of felt bad because we don't look at.
Is she on our page now?
No, well, I think is she on now? Yeah,
I gotta check.
I believe she's now.
Yeah. Right. So I told her about that. It's like get into. So I told her to keep my loop. So I felt bad because we weren't keeping her in the loop. So she hit me up, and they got some issues when I saw the video, and it was bad where the bad players again got kicked out from us down. I mean, all around, and then they go to San Diego and think they're not thinking. Let's just cause problems over there. Like, really, guys? You really want to get banned from all the parks? And
you had to go all the way to San Diego to play, and you got to ruin that.
And ruin that. And so now they know. Now they're in our loop, and so now we're going to control it even more. But eventually, the ones that are creating the problems are going to have nowhere to go, and
eventually we're going to get emails like we always do. Right. Hey, we've seen the error of our ways. We're mature now. we were so wrong. We apologize. Can we come back?
It wasn't me. No. It was my friend.
Yeah. I don't know what he was going to do. I just filmed it and was laughing the whole time, but I didn't know.
So, I mean, it all comes back to, the thing is the industry is still small, so it's going to come back. Sonny's customers and people are going to be on your pages somehow. Our customers are going to be on your pages. So information is always going to come back to us, period. So there's no hiding it or whatever.
Anonymity anymore.
No. And so it's always going to come back because someone's always going to have my best interest, Sonny's best interest, and they're going to tell us about it. And so we're always going to be able to find out. So the best thing is...
We have people.
Yeah, we have people. We're embedded. We got people embedded.
We'll find you.
Yeah, we'll find them. And we're all at a point now where we have a zero tolerance level at our park now. We're at a zero tolerance. We're just not tolerating anymore.
If you get to that point after hearing the rules, being orientated, seeing how things are supposed to go. I mean, there's so many different chances of you to follow the rules and to say when you get to the point when you get kicked out, you've exhausted all those lifelines. And to say I didn't know is ridiculous.
No, it is because we don't ban you into. We gave you already multiple.
Want to do.
Yeah, we already gave you multiple chances that day, and before it goes to that level. And so, because our goal was never to ban a player ever. No. But they tie our hands, and we have to end up banning them.
It's a business decision as well.
But the downfall is now you get banned at Code Red. All of a sudden, you get banned in Tac-City. I call SC. I call Hollywood. I call N1. All of a sudden, now your name's out of all of them. Huh? Oh, Jungle. That's right, Jungle. So and we all communicate. We're friends with all of them. We know them all, so we call them personally.
We have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
That shares all the intel.
And we put your picture on there. I mean, you're famous on the back end. Yeah. But and then now we got the Velocity on there now. Warped. Yep. So I mean, because we're all done. We all are done.
Bad for business, bad for the sport.
We are for we are for our customers. So we are doing it's like the safety of the items that we allow. We're also for the safety of our players. So if a bad player is out to do harm for our players, you're that unsafe item. Yeah. So we don't allow unsafe items at our park. So now,
if it affects the experience of our other customers, it's not going to be allowed.
No.
We need to make sure everybody has the best experience possible. And
that's
for guys to just go off the rails or off the reservation with whatever they think is cool because they're immature.
They always go after the children. And it's sad because you have these parents that they're fearful for their child, and as a business owner or you're trying to convince mom, no,
safe
your kid's
environment.
Going to be
it's
okay.
Tough enough already.
Right, and then you don't know what these bad apples are.
So I can tell you this, and I'll say this on record here. So, and I don't know if you experienced this too, where minors are committing these crimes,
Correct.
And they'll say I'm a minor.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Well, let this be on the record that if someone pulls a mag dump or anything close to that level of shenanigans here, whether I'm here or my staff is instructed to get your gun and break it in half to safety, because you're unsafe. You are creating an unsafe environment, and then we will call your parents and explain to them why the gun that they purchased for you, because if you're a minor, you're not allowed to purchase an airsoft gun. They're technically responsible for it. Why their kid abused the privilege of using an airsoft gun to hurt somebody else.
And that's the key thing.
And I've done this in the past as well. Where the parent of a kid that was mag dumped, given them the information of the waiver of the parent for the kid who committed the crime, and let them deal with them and file charges or whatever they may be. So it's a serious offense.
Yes, and we have had people say, well, you can't do that. That's my property. What changes is it becomes a dangerous weapon, and you do not know what they're going to do with that gun. And so since I can't tackle you and I can't subdue you as a minor, I'm going to safety the situation up by immediate danger.
Yep.
Correct, because we don't know what you're going to do. You've already
and you just lost that privilege, and then you can explain to mommy and daddy why the money they spent on that gun is broken in half. Because a lot of times, you might experience this too, is the parent doesn't even know that their kid's being an idiot.
Yeah, majority of the time, no.
They don't. They're oblivious to it.
Correct. And
somebody else's kid should not have to pay the price because of that idiot. Now, granted, most of them were kids. Kids mean teenagers, early 20s, whatever it may be, right?
Right.
And maybe they grow out of it and become, productive citizens or whatnot. But you're not going to learn on my watch.
Right.
Good for you if you grow out of this, but good luck, because you're not playing airsoft at my field, Randy's field.
Nope.
Probably in Southern California for that matter.
Yeah, because we have anyone that we ban. It's almost permanent, meaning that I don't care if 5 years from now. I mean, there's no coming back.
Well, mag dump is permanent.
Yeah,
I mean, for me, that's
if you create any kind of body harm like that, and we ban people that mag dump at other parks. So if Sonny said, hey, this guy, this kid or what guy had mag dumped at my park, he's instantly banned at Code Red. Instantly.
If he does it my field, why wouldn't he do it at his field?
Yeah. So we don't allow it just because it happened at another park.
Why would you wait for it to happen?
We don't. And it could be another state, as far as I know, because I hear from other state, other parks in Arizona and stuff like that. So if I hear it from another state as well, we don't allow it. So we've gone to the next level, meaning that if we're hearing it from any other field, it's automatic ban at our park of a mag dump of that nature. If there's different little ones,
and
that
that's
is not
a judgment to call it as far as what degree. But
Right.
I think mag dumping is one of the things that there's no quarter for that.
Right.
No coming back.
And so that's kind of our stance, I guess, is how we kind of want to finish this off. Other than in one, I don't think it's a bad field. It's going to be anyone's personal preference.
It's a different level. Different for the most part, as far as I know of it. It's got a different clientele, but they run a good show up there, and kudos to them. They're still open through all this, and LA County is a tough county to be operating in. They do a
I
good
think
job.
any business that like airsoft business, paintball business, or park, if we're still here,
they're doing something right.
We're doing everyone's kind of doing something right to be able to hang in there, but we just don't know if how much longer. But as a park, we're still staying strong, and we're doing what we can to keep doors open. And we will continue to do that. Unfortunately, as the future goes, I mean, we will probably end up having to raise prices. I mean, it's inevitable.
Prices don't go down in any economy for that matter.
Well, there's a shortage on everything. Every time you turn around, shortage on plastic, shortage on this, on that.
Yeah.
I mean, from BB shortage, gun shortage, containers.
But again, like we said earlier, we try to isolate the customer as best we can, as long as we can, from a lot of that. But you guys may not be aware that in any industry, things are becoming more expensive. So just bear with us. We're trying to do the best we can. It's not a money grab, as some people think we're getting rich.
No, I mean, obviously, like for even you, I mean, most of us, I mean, we kept our prices the same for 4 or 5 years. This is the only last year or something that prices were hitting us on all the time.
Even though we've been open, we've taken losses.
Yeah, a lot of losses.
Major losses. Thousands of dollars. So, we're open, but it's still not 100%.
Well, like for you, I mean, I'm assuming during the pandemic when you had to close, did you still have to pay rent?
Oh, yeah.
Yep, same here.
We had to pay rent.
So we had to pay rent.
I'm trying to work some things out on the back end to
flip-flop.
recoup that and all that, but
that was hard because there was like our business up in the high desert. That owner was nice, like literally nice. He understood, and he goes, "I'd rather you just stay there, keep the riffraff out, and you don't worry about it." And so that's rare. The park, no, nope, you don't pay it, you're kicked out. I was like, oh my god.
So my landlord's been pretty good, kind of between those two options. Like, okay, no, pay us what you can, but we'll put it on the back end or we'll figure something out on the back end, but it'll be due. It's just
right.
It's not a
pay what
away.
You can right now.
Correct. We didn't get the advantage.
But it wasn't like no, pay full price or you're out.
No, we got that, man, and that was like it made me so kind of angry on it. It was like, what the heck?
Like no love
like,
at all.
Yeah, where is this? We're all in it together thing. Yeah, we're not.
So let's. I think we need to wrap this up because I think Mark's yelling at me.
Yeah.
So tell us where we can find you on your socials and website and all that good stuff.
So I mean, obviously our biggest one is Instagram, and it's CodeRedAirsoftPark.com, .com. And it's just on Facebook, it's just Facebook /Code Red Airsoft, our website, CodeRedAirsoftPark.com, and of course Google. You can get a hold of us on any of these things and send us messages, and we reply to all of them.
Ask questions about equipment.
Ask questions, we get it.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, I get the like an instant text message. If I'm not seeing it, Sam's seeing it. So we're both on the same platform, obviously. So we will be able to answer most of all the questions. If you guys are looking to book parties, the best thing to do is honestly call us, because our weekends have been booking up with private parties. So call us at our storefront, and if no one answers, leave a message. We will call you back, and that's 760-241-9097. And that is it. Other than that, we're open every weekend, no matter what, rain or shine, from 8:30 to 4. And we're going to be open up Memorial Day from 10 to 4. $25 special that day. If you want to save some money, that's a day to do it. But other than that, man, we're just out there having fun with our customers and making sure everyone's having a great, safe, fun environment to have fun.
Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
And with that, we will see you next time. See you.
Bye.
All right, guys, that's it for this episode. And as always, we're going to end with a famous quote from a famous person. If you happen to know who said this, please email us at info@Taccityairsoft.com, and we will mention you on the air and give you a special prize. All right. This episode's quote is, in the end, it is not the years in your life that matter. It's the life in your years. With that, see ya.